Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. Well, we want to understand what is fatigue. I know everyone understands fatigue, but what is adrenal fatigue, right? That's something that we want to understand. And then how naturopathy can help whoever is suffering from adrenal fatigue. That's what we are talking about today with Dr. Jacob. Dr. Jacob is a naturopathic doctor. He is joining me live from Kerala. Kerala is a place where Ayurveda and yoga oozes out from every home out there. So I am super excited that he's joining me live. Thank you so much, Dr. Jacob.
Thank you, Amida, for welcoming me for this session. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great. So let's just understand what exactly is adrenal fatigue and how is it different from chronic fatigue?
All right. So adrenal fatigue is a new terminology. So most of the people are not aware about the adrenal fatigue. So adrenal fatigue, when I talk to you about adrenal fatigue, I think I should talk first about the adrenals, then what is contributing to it. So when we say about the adrenals, so as most of the people know, adrenal is a gland which is located right above the kidney, which is for handling the stress. So adrenal is the one which creates stress hormones like cortisol or noradrenaline or adrenaline, which help you to cope with the stress. And what happens is in this 21st century, so the stress is always there. So we are always in a stressful situation. Be it it is the job, or is it the environmental thing, or family stress, financial stress. The stress is always there, and the adrenal's job is to help you cope with the stress, either to fight with the stress or escape from the stress. But in case of adrenal fatigue, what happens in the recent time, maybe last 200 or 300 years? So we are in a constant stress mode, so that is creating a lot of stress hormone production all the time. And over a period of time, what happens is the adrenals are getting exhausted. It is not able to produce any more cortisol, or it is not able to produce a sufficient amount of cortisol. So that creates a condition called adrenal fatigue. So most of the time, the fatigue is the major symptom which we come across, with other symptoms which we will discuss as we go on.
Okay. So let's just understand. We can continue the symptoms earlier, I mean later on, but we have only 10-15 minutes today. So let's just quickly go through naturopathy, right? And you are a naturopathy and yoga doctor. How can these two modalities help with adrenal fatigue? Like you talked about the cortisol. So maybe you can let's just talk on the protocols now.
All right. So before I go to that, we should understand the cause factors. So especially as far as naturopathy is concerned, or if any medicine is concerned, first is prevention is most important part. And second is that we should identify what is the root cause of that problem. So when I consult a patient or client, what happened is I will try to understand why and what is that is causing the adrenal fatigue for that particular individual. So it can be a relationship stress, or it can be a job related stress, or it can be just a negative self-talk all the time for a couple of years, or it can be a toxins or environmental stress, or it can be overconsumption of certain food aspects, or it can be consumption of caffeine all the time. So there can be multiple root causes. So as far as the naturopathy is concerned, and also I am a trained functional medicine practitioner, and as far as our approach is concerned, we try to identify the root cause. So when we come to the root cause, so usually we take a laboratory questionnaire. So once we do that elaborate questionnaire, what happens is we'll be able to find out which are the lifestyle factors which are contributing to that adrenal fatigue. So then we try to remove them if that is possible, or we try to identify how we can mitigate it, or how we can reduce the effect of that particular lifestyle habit, creating the stress or the adrenal fatigue. So when comes to the naturopathy protocol, I think I would put around 5 modalities or 5 approaches for taking somebody from adrenal fatigue to a normal individual. And the first thing will be a lifestyle modification, as I told you. So if somebody is like, we see a lot of people nowadays who is so serious all the time. So that means like they don't love, they don't know to love. So that creates stress, and we try to make them to change that lifestyle. Or if I give another example, somebody taking a lot of pain medications, or a lot of caffeine, or a lot of teas, or a lot of sugar. So we identify and remove that causative factors. Then the second aspect will be in the naturopathic modality, especially in India, we utilize yogic practices. So when we discuss about the yogic practices, especially we need to work on different aspects of a person. So the stress is not just the physical or the mental. It can be emotional, it can be psychological, it can be social. So, and yoga balances all these aspects. So if it is physical, yogic asanas can be beneficial, especially Surya Namaskaras can be beneficial, or meditative asanas can be beneficial, and also the pranayamas, the breathing practices can be beneficial to bring down the cortisol or reduce the sympathetic overdrive. Then also we teach a lot of meditations, and some people initial days they may not be able to cope with the meditation. So that time we may teach them simple techniques to focus their mind. Then next approach would be more of a dietary approach. So that means more of healthy nutrients. For example, sugar can be stressful. It can drain the adrenals. So that's why we will teach our clients or patients how to take away the sugar from their diet. Or nutrition is important. Maybe we'll discuss that later. So because magnesium is important, B vitamins are important, vitamin C is important. So if you don't get that from your food, you may need to supplement it through the food and avoid what is causing it. And then exercise. So that is another part of the naturopathic protocol. So there are people who is not at all doing exercise, which can create adrenal fatigue, or which will not be sufficient, which will be needed for recovering from the adrenal fatigue. And maybe there are people who will be always constantly doing exercise. Too much of everything is bad. So even the exercise or the activity can be also bad. So that's another aspect we work on. Then the final aspect will be herbs and the supplements. So there are adaptogenic herbs which can help you to recover the adrenal fatigue or help you to heal the adrenal fatigue. And also there are nutrients which help you to heal the adrenal fatigue. So these are the 5 aspects in a typical naturopathy protocol we work on. So Amita, I think I answered your question.
Yeah. So, okay, so naturopathy also uses a lot of herbs, right, as one of the tools. So you talked about Surya Namaskar, right? So is this, are you also using, and you talked about the dietary approaches and combining with the meditation, combining with the Surya Namaskar. Could you, could we go just a little bit deeper? And this is not a medical advice, but just general idea of what type of dietary approach, a specific type of food type, specific type of herbs that could help with fatigue, just a little bit that people can do a little bit self-care on their own without giving a medical advice.
Yeah. So on a general aspect, so one of the major reason what we see in this time is overconsumption of sugar and protein. So as I told you a few minutes before, the sugar is creating a lot of stress on the adrenals. So that is one aspect which we need to control. That means reduce the sugar, especially the simple sugars in terms of refined flour or the white sugar. So that is one aspect. Then second aspect is adding a lot of good fat. So why I say you fat is because the cortisol, for example, or all the adrenal hormones, so they are produced from a raw material called fat. So if there is no sufficient amount of fat in your diet, simple as that. If you are scared about cholesterol, for example, and if there is no sufficient amount of fat, so you are not supplying the raw material for the adrenal recovery as well as the production of adrenal hormones. So so when I talk about the adrenal fatigue, so this is little basics. For example, like so the same raw material is used for producing different adrenal hormones, be it is testosterone, estrogen, or progesterone, or cortisol. And this is the same raw material which is produced from the cholesterol or from the fat. And if you don't have sufficient fat, what happens is you are not supplying the raw material. So if there is no raw material, what the body will does is it cannot function properly, right? So that's why fat is very much important for adrenal recovery. And when it comes to the quality of fat, so always we recommend the natural fat as possible. And one of the best fat available I would recommend is the coconut. So I am from a land of coconut. Kerala is a land of coconut. So I'm happy to always tell to my patients and clients, so have plenty of coconut. So if you have one coconut a day, brilliant. So other ways, like in other part of the world, you can have multiple nuts, or you can have yogurts, or you can have healthy oils. So that is also very much important. Then another part of the nutrient is that focusing on the fiber and focusing on the with vitamin B complex. So especially the vitamin B complex comes from the husk of any cereals, for example, and that is very much important. So especially vitamin B5, for example. So they help to help in the production of cortisol, as well as they will help you in the healing of the adrenal fatigue. So that's why nutrients are important. Then magnesium is important. So you need to sources from the food. And if you don't get these nutrients, so then what happens is the body is going to be dysfunctional, not only adrenals, but other aspects as well. But it is important for the adrenals as well. Then when it comes to the herbs, so most of the herbs, what we recommend is as you can follow just on the this Facebook live, maybe ashwagandha. So most of the people have heard about ashwagandha, I think. So ashwagandha is a traditional Indian herb which is used for thousands of years, and they are proven, scientifically proven in multiple researches for adrenal recovery. So I would say maybe around 500 milligrams of ashwagandha morning and evening after the food. So that will be a good thing to do. And also other herbs like basils or rhodiolas. So these are the some of the herbs we can use for the adrenal recovery as well. Yes, Amrita.
Okay. No, I think that's great. I mean, this is a quick 10-minute to 15-minute session that we do just to give a general idea. So should we wrap up and have Adi give a chance to answer any, to ask any questions, Adi, if you have any questions, any comments, any feedback? And we have someone else also who's joined right now. So you're welcome to unmute yourself, ask question, or put in the chat window. Like I said, this is a quick 10-minute session we do. It's not a medical advice. Okay, I don't see any comments, questions from Adi. Anything else you think you should add to wrap up the session?
Yeah. So I think once, if I am concluding, so for example, like usually what happens is most of the people will be like Googling for their solution. So but when it comes to the adrenal recovery, what happens is the solution is not overnight. So in a typical scenario, it can take to 3 months to 6 months or even 1 year for a proper adrenal recovery. That means if you follow a certain treatment pattern or a lifestyle change, so that will not show you the result on a 24 hours time or 48 hours time, maybe not be one week time. So you need that change in lifestyle or the treatment approach for a couple of months together to get that result. So that's why always it is important, consult somebody who is trained in doing an adrenal recovery. So then integrate, and there is no single solution for adrenal recovery as well. So as I told you, 5 factors. So all these factors are important for a proper adrenal recovery. So that's why it is always important, do a holistic approach and also get an expert opinion or expert guidance for getting to treat the adrenal problem or adrenal fatigue. So that's what will be my concluding message.
Thank you so much. And that's what we are trying to advocate on a daily basis, using holistic lifestyle, holistic approach to take care of not only adrenal fatigue, but all the other issues. Of course, we are not saying that don't go to the doctor, but we are saying this should be your first line of attack, I should say, that for your body is holistic approach. With that, I'd like to wrap up the session. Thank you so much, Dr. Jacob, for being with us. And to everyone else, I am truly humbled with your support and your following. We are coming up with a very affordable and accessible platform that everyone will be able to access with the support of the experts as well. So stay tuned and keep supporting us. With that, thank you and have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.